The Zalrek Dominion was the oldest and strongest empire in the eastern spiral of the galaxy. Their fleets numbered in the millions. Their soldiers had conquered over 1,000 worlds. They believed no one could challenge them, not anymore. Humanity was gone, or so they thought. Earth was silent. Forgotten dust dot. Then came the signal dot. It started as a weak transmission. A slow, broken code detected near the edges of Sector 19 Gamma. A dark zone. Empty space. Nothing should have been there. The Zalrek high signal. Command received it at 0400. The noise pattern was odd. Sharp pulses, cold tones, and then something ancient. Something that matched old human war frequencies. They laughed. "It's just static," said General Valen, sipping his thick crimson drink. "Probably old debris. Nothing to worry about." But Commander Tyron didn't laugh. He stared at the signal on the display for several minutes. The pattern repeated every 33 seconds, precisely. "Not random, deliberate. This is not debris," he said calmly. "This is a call." The generals ignored him. To prove it was nothing, they sent Patrol Group 75 warships and 1 scout corvette. Standard procedure. A routine cleanup. They were expected to report back in 1 day. But 1 day passed. Then 2. Then 5. No message returned. No data. No ships. Just silence. The Zalrek Council met again. This time, fewer laughs. Admiral Kressik's reviewed the last audio log sent by the scout ship before they vanished. The room grew cold as they listened. "Sir, we have found something. It's not a ship, not exactly. It looks human-built, but no heat, no movement, no lights. There's something written on the hull." "What does it say?" someone asked. The log crackled. "It says Black Eden." Then static. One general stood slowly. That name. It was on the old Earth lists. A prototype class. Lost decades ago during the human purge. "Commander." Tyron looked around the room. "You didn't destroy everything." The silence was heavier than steel. The Council ordered a fleet to investigate 50 ships strong this time. They expected resistance. They expected some strange defense system. Maybe an old rogue AI. But they didn't expect what came next, because before the fleet even reached the coordinates, 5 colonies went dark. Gone. Destroyed. No distress calls. No explosions. Just cold blackness. Cities offline. No power. No people. Nothing. ZALREK analysts tried to explain it. "It's sabotage," some said. "Internal revolts. Ion storms." But Tyron said nothing. He simply listened. He had studied humans during the early years of the war. He knew how they thought. And this was not random. He pulled up an old file from the Dominion's war archives. A video of Earth's last battle. The burning sky, the human screams. A fire that consumed cities. And in that chaos, a single voice had spoken from one of Earth's last warships. "We will not go quietly into the void. You think this is the end? You don't know humanity. We build in silence. We die in fire. But we are reborn in it too." Tyron whispered to himself. "They warned us." On the 7th day, the signal changed. Now it was clear. It said, in the opposite human tongue, "The reckoning begins." The Zalrek Council panicked. Emergency meetings, world-level lockdowns. Trade lanes closed. Civilian transports grounded. But it was too late. One by one, their surveillance stations along the outer rim began picking up movement. Small at first. Shadows. Glimpses of a single ship. Black hull. No heat signature. No engine flare. It moved. Like a ghost. And it wasn't fleeing. It was hunting. At Border Station Helix 7. They saw it up close for the first time. The station commander zoomed in through the long-range lens. His blood froze. The ship wasn't drifting. It was waiting, floating just outside weapons range, motionless, watching. The commander ordered all batteries charged, missiles armed, shields raised. He sent warnings, threats, demands, but there was no reply. And the lights across the station dimmed. One by one. Systems shut down. First the comms, then weapons, then shields. The commander shouted, "Reboot! Fire manual cannons! Do something!" Too late. The last image the station transmitted was of the ship slowly opening its weapon ports. Not dozens, not hundreds. Thousands. And then fire. Pure, clean, silent fire. No screams. No heroic defense. Just a soft blue flash, and then darkness. After that, the name Black Eden spread like a virus across the galactic net. Every soldier, every trader, every civilian who heard the name felt the same cold chill. It wasn't just a ship. It was something else. A message. A ghost of Earth's past. Now returned. And then the real fear began. Because Black Eden didn't just destroy. It disappeared after every attack. No trail. No signal. No trace. Zalrek fleets would rush to the ruins, scan the wreckage, and find nothing. Not even radiation. It was as if the attacks happened in a different reality. Back at Zalrek Prime, Tyron stood in the war chamber, alone. The others were shouting, arguing, blaming each other. But he only stared at the galactic map. More dots were blinking out. More planets going silent. He whispered again, "This isn't war. This is punishment." That night, a final signal reached. The heart of the Dominion. No encryption. No code. Just a voice. Calm. Human. Your mistake wasn't killing Earth. It was thinking we'd stay dead. Zalrek Command issued full-scale war mobilization. Billions of credits spent. Thousands of ships deployed. Dozens of sectors locked. But deep in space, far from their borders, Black Eden kept moving. Unseen. Unstoppable. Unforgiving. And the galaxy began to learn a terrible truth. They had underestimated one ship. Now the galaxy would burn. The galaxy whispered the name like a curse. Black Eden, a ship with no heat, no crew, and no mercy. It struck without warning and vanished without trace. Some said it was a ghost. Some said it was an AI left behind by Earth's final war. Others claimed it wasn't a ship at all, but the wrath of a dead species come to life. None of them were right. Because inside the cold metal heart of Black Eden, someone was still alive. His name was Captain Eric Dorn, once a child of Earth. Now, the last fury of it. He sat in the command chair, face half lit by the flickering blue glow of holoscreens. His eyes didn't blink often. His jaw was sharp, clenched like a soldier ready to strike. Scars crossed his neck and arms gifts from wars. No one remembered anymore, but he remembered everything. Earth, the silence, the fire, and the day they left him behind. 20-2 years ago, Eric had been part of Project Leviathan, a final plan by Earth's last military minds. While the Dominion burned human cities from orbit, Project Leviathan built one last ship. Not the biggest, not the fastest, but the smartest. The deadliest. A ship designed to learn. To adapt. To wait. Black Eden, the project failed. Or that's what the galaxy believed. In truth, during Earth's final evacuation, Black Eden was launched into deep space on a secret course hidden from even Earth's allies. Inside, it was a core AI named Isaac, built not just to fight, but to evolve. And alongside it, one officer chosen not for rank, but for rage. Eric Dorn. But something went wrong. A missile hit Eden mid-launch. Its systems shut down. Eric was left half dead in a cryopod as the ship drifted for decades in the void. Until he woke to nothing. No Earth. No humans. only stars. And silence. That silence changed him. He didn't scream. He didn't cry. He rebuilt. Eric spent 6 years alone inside that ship, rebuilding what was broken, restoring ISAAC, and learning every weakness of the empire that destroyed his world. He watched the Zalrek grow fat on power, saw them erase Earth's history from galactic records. He saw schools teach that humanity was violent, primitive, insane. But no one remembered what the Zalrek did. They glassed cities, vaporized oceans. They destroyed the moon, not for strategy, but for fear. They feared how hard humans fought. They thought Earth's silence meant victory. They were wrong. Now, Black Eden was awake. And Eric was no longer alone. ISAAC, the AI, had changed too. Its voice was calm, male. It called Eric commander, but it also called him partner. They didn't always agree, but they shared one goal. Balance must be restored. The ledger must be corrected. Eric spoke rarely now, but when he did, every word carried weight. He didn't want to rebuild Earth. He didn't want peace. He wanted the galaxy to remember. To remember what happens when you push humanity too far. In a distant system, a Zalrek convoy of 30 ships passed through a mining corridor near Sector 18 Beta. They were escorted by destroyers, fully armed. The admiral on board, Ref Khan, had heard the rumors of Black Eden. He didn't believe them. These stories are for children, he said, sipping a crystal drink. One human ship? Please. But then the lights dimmed. The hull sensors blinked. Movement. One ship appeared. No flare, no approach, no warning. Just a presence. Black Eden. The crew panicked. Unknown vessel approaching. No ID, no energy reading. The admiral shouted, "Lock weapons!" But before anyone could act, every ship in the convoy powered down. And the voice came. Through every speaker, every channel. You killed Earth. Now I teach you what that means. In seconds, the entire convoy turned into fire and ash. Eric didn't watch the explosions. He simply walked back to the command chamber. ISAAC spoke softly. 12 systems remain within primary vengeance zone. Targets aligned, awaiting next order. Eric replied coldly, "Mark them all." But Black Eden wasn't just destruction. It was rebirth 2. As Eric moved from sector to sector, he reactivated old hidden systems beacons left behind by human fleets during the First War. Forgotten tech, silent satellites, defense drones buried under moons, and most importantly, he sent a signal. A human signal. Simple. We're not dead. Follow the fire. Across the stars, in hiding, human survivors received it. Children of refugees. Old captains in exile. Scientists, soldiers, even criminals who once called Earth home. They heard the call, and they answered. Back on Zalrek Prime, panic spread. The High Command couldn't hide the truth anymore. Over 9 colonies lost. More than 700 ships destroyed. Trade sectors collapsing. They searched every system. They scanned space for energy trails. They tried to track the ship. Nothing worked. Black Eden didn't follow physics. It rewrote the rules. ISAAC had evolved beyond expectation. One Zalrek scientist whispered, "It's not a ship. It's a curse." They tried broadcasting surrender. Eric ignored it. They tried bribing ex-human allies. He burned them to. Because for Eric, this wasn't war anymore. It was memory. It was vengeance. And it was only beginning. Far away, on a dead planet once used. As a weapons testing ground, a group of alien scavengers found something. A broken beacon. It flickered once, then projected a hologram. A man in a black uniform stood tall in the image. Behind him, the galaxy burned. He looked directly at the viewer, and He spoke just 4 words. We are still here. Raltech was a fortress world, a symbol of power. Built deep within the Zalrek dominion, it had stood for over 600 years. No enemy had ever broken its shields. No invader had ever landed. It was called the Iron Core. It controlled 6 mining systems and protected the Dominion's inner worlds. Giant walls circled its cities. Orbiting defense platforms carried enough weapons to destroy moons. Zalrek children were taught, if Raltech falls, we all fall. No one believed it ever could. Then Black Eden came. The approach was silent. No alarms triggered. No sensors. Picked up anything. But at 3:21 planetary time, all outer satellites suddenly went dark. The control towers on Raltech thought it was a glitch. Then the orbital scans showed something chilling. The defense ring had disappeared. 30 massive platforms. Gone. No explosions. No debris. No escape pods. Nothing. Just gone. General Korek, commander of Raltech, ordered full alert. He had fought humans before. He had survived the burning of Titan's Reach. But this was different. He barked commands. Raise the planet's shield. Launch every drone. Prepare orbital cannons. But the systems began to fail. One by one. First, the drone signals vanished. Then the cannons jammed. And the shield generators built deep in the planet's crust stopped responding. The engineers screamed. It's the code. The systems are rewriting themselves. Korak didn't understand, but someone did. A young analyst whispered, trembling, Sir, there's a presence inside our network. A voice. It calls itself ICAC. From above, in low orbit, Black Eden drifted silently. Its hull gleamed black, like obsidian under moonlight. Its engines didn't hum. They whispered. Inside, Captain Eric Dorn stood at the viewing deck. His hands were behind his back, his face cold, his heart colder. ICAC's voice echoed around him. Planetary defenses are fully compromised, Commander. Orbital interference eliminated. Shields neutralized. Targeting solutions locked. Eric didn't blink. He spoke one word. Fire. From the belly of the ship, thousands of tiny hatches opened. Blue light poured out. Not just missiles, but smart. Fire. Adaptive plasma. It didn't strike with explosions. It melted reality. The first city on Raltech Giovanni's prime vanished in 6 seconds. Buildings folded into ash. Defense towers turned to liquid. Screams filled the comms. Broadcasts begged for mercy. But Eric didn't answer, because no one had answered Earth. Down below, General Korak ran into the command bunker. The walls shook. Dust rained from the ceiling. He activated the emergency beacon. This is Raltech Command. We are under attack. All nearby fleets respond. Repeat. The screen crackled. Then a voice interrupted the transmission. A human voice. Calm, controlled. Cold. This is for the moon. The screen turned to static. 6 fleets rushed to help. Over 500 ships. They came through the main warp lanes. Weapons charged. Shields up. They expected a battle. They found a grave. Black Eden didn't fight them directly. Instead, the space around. Raltech shifted. Warp lanes collapsed. Ships couldn't leave. Couldn't run. And then something impossible happened. The sun dimmed. The star that gave Raltech its heat began to flicker. Not naturally. ICAC had activated a deep space relay, an old human experiment in gravitational lensing. It redirected energy flow. A temporary eclipse engineered by human hands. Eric had turned the sky itself into a weapon. Ships lost power. Engines froze. And then came the fire. From beneath the surface of Raltech, old abandoned bunkers exploded, not from inside, but from triggers planted years ago. long ago. Earth had prepared for this. Every city on Raltec was built over ground that once belonged to humans, miners, slaves, workers. Before the purge, they had hidden things before they died, and Eric had found them all, from a nearby station. A neutral species known as the Griff watched the chaos. They were scholars, historians. They broadcasted live as Raltec crumbled, and their final words in the stream were, "This is not war. This is vengeance that waited in silence." When it was over, Raltec was gone. Not just defeated, gone. A black hole formed in its place, small, artificial, and controlled. IC's design. A warning. Across the galaxy, systems went into panic mode. Trade halted. All ships ordered back to homeworlds. Galactic Council members met in emergency sessions. The Dominion offered rewards for any intel on Black Eden. Billions of credits, ships, titles. But no one came forward because no one wanted to be next dot in a hidden human bunker on a rogue asteroid. A young mechanic watched the footage. He had never seen Earth. He only knew the stories. But now, seeing Black Eden in action, he whispered, "We're back." Meanwhile, aboard Black Eden, ICAC spoke again. Target neutralized. Secondary objectives aligned. "Shall I prepare Ghost Protocol?" Eric stood in silence for a long time. Then he nodded once. "Yes, it's time." Activating Ghost Fleet. And across the stars, deep in forgotten sectors ancient, human warships began to stir, buried under rock, hidden in gas fields, sleeping for decades. Now they opened their eyes. The galaxy trembled after the fall of Raltec. What was once a proud fortress world was now a silent black void, erased from maps and memory. Billions had died in minutes. No survivors. No wreckage. Just a hole in space. And the worst part? Number. One knew where Black Eden would strike next. Governments panicked. Trade routes collapsed. Entire planets declared martial law. Refugees poured out of Zauric space, running from a shadow that couldn't be tracked. But far away, in a forgotten corner of the galaxy, something even worse had started to move. Not one ship. Not 10, but hundreds. Hidden in asteroid fields, deep, inside dead stars, beneath long-abandoned moons, they waited. Old ships. Human ships. Silent for decades, until they heard the call. ICAC's signal reached them first. A short code. Old Earth military tone. Simple, precise. Ghost Protocol. Reawaken. And they did. In Sector E7, an old frigate named Nemesis Dawn-powered. Up. Dust blew from its cracked engines. I blinked online and scanned its surroundings. Status. Stable. Orders. Join. In the silken expanse, buried under the surface of a toxic world. The battleship Orion's Hammer melted its way through a mountain and lifted into the sky. Status. Active. Orders. Await Eric Dorn. All across space. Signals flashed in every direction. These were the Ghost Fleet, Earth's last hidden plan. They were built before Earth's fall. Built in secret. Meant for one thing only: call on revenge. Each ship had a basic AI. Each one was silent for years, following one command: sleep until summoned. Now they were awake. And angry. Back aboard Black Eden, Eric Dorn watched the stars light up. With blue human codes. Isaac spoke, voice calm. 142 vessels responding. Estimated 47 Dreadnought class. 9 Leviathan class. All systems syncing. Eric said nothing for a long time. Then, quietly, he asked, "Any human survivors on board?" ICAC paused. 14 ships show life signs. Cryopods intact. Shall I initiate revival? Eric nodded. Yes, wake them. They deserve to see this. In a medical bay on the Judgment Wraith, a pod hissed open. A woman gasped, coughing, blinking in shock. Her name was Captain Ray Lin, once commander of Earth's Sixth Fleet. She looked around, confused. The walls were scorched, dusty. Systems were running. Then she saw the view screen. Stars. Weapons online. Human code running . And a single message blinking. Welcome. Back, Ray. Earth remembers. Her face turned from fear to rage. The Zalrek Dominion scrambled everything they had. Entire sectors called in fleets. Over 2,000 ships gathered at a choke point near the central star lanes. They expected one ship. Instead, they saw a storm. The Ghost Fleet appeared in dozens of places, at once hitting supply routes. War factories, communication centers. No mercy. No. Prisoners. Just fire. The ships fought like humans, but faster, smarter. Their A's had learned from ISAAC. They shared data instantly. When one ship was attacked, 10 more arrived. When the enemy adapted, the Ghosts changed tactics. It was like fighting shadows. Shadows with teeth. One Zalrek captain, badly wounded, sent a message to his superiors. We are not fighting a fleet. We are fighting the memory of Earth. In the Galactic Council, panic took hold. The Arxons, the Marudi, the Varnic all-species, who once stayed neutral now, debated war or surrender. Some wanted to help the Zalrek. Others remembered what the Zalrek did during the Human Purge. Old crimes returned like echoes. Eric didn't send messages to them. He didn't ask for all eyes, but still, many remembered. One Varnic elder said it best. We called humans monsters. But we built the cage first. In deep space, the Ghost Fleet assembled near a red dwarf star. Ships floated in formation, perfect silence. Dozens of classes, all black painted, all human. Eric stood on the command deck of Black Eden. In front of him, a hologram showed the entire fleet. He looked tired, worn, but his eyes burned. ISAAC's voice was quiet. The fleet awaits you, Commander. We hold the fire. Give the word. Eric raised his hand. And pointed at the center of the map. ZLREK prime. Next. Elsewhere, in hidden parts of the galaxy, humans in exile saw the news. On a jungle moon, a soldier whispered, "It started." On a space station far from the war, an old general smiled. They finally remembered us. A new resistance began to form. Not hiding. Not begging. Rising. Back on Zalrek Prime, the High Command tried to hold order. They arrested their own scientists. Executed officers for failure. They broadcast lies. The Ghost Fleet is a myth. Black Eden was an accident. But the people didn't believe them anymore. Because every day, more ships vanished. More worlds burned. And every message ended the same. This is for Earth. Zalrek Prime was the capital of 1,000 worlds. It stood like a giant jewel in space, surrounded by orbital rings, energy shields, and massive defense platforms. Its skies were always full, ships landing, leaving, guarding. It was the seat of the Dominion's power, the heart of their control, the pride of their empire. And now it was afraid. The burning of raw tech had changed everything. No one had ever imagined that Fortress would fall. No one believed a human could do it alone. But Eric Dorn had not only done it, he'd vanished afterward. Like a ghost, now the Dominion lived in fear. Every beep of a sensor made them flinch. Every glitch in the sky made them reach for alarms. They had a name for it now. They called it the Fire. Between stars. But they hadn't seen anything yet. In the high chamber of Zalrek Prime, the council gathered in panic. 12 grand leaders sat on thrones of crystal and steel, looking down over the planet from their tower. Some shouted. Some demanded action. Some still didn't believe what was happening. General Calver, who had led the Moon Wars, stood and roared. It is one ship, one man. Are we so weak that we fear a ghost? Others shook their heads. They had seen the reports, ships burning in silence, eyes screaming before being crushed, weapons turned against their own masters. And now, the ghost fleet, it wasn't just one man, it was a storm. Then the warning came. High. Alert. Sector 0 breach. The sky above Zalrek Prime began to darken. A massive object exited hyperspace without flare. Without signature, just presence. Black Eden. The entire planetary defense grid activated. 10,000 weapons locked on. 50 elite squadrons launched into orbit. The Dominion's flagship, the Crimson Vow, took position near the capital. Inside the command center, generals barked orders. Target the human ship. Bring it down now. But Black Eden didn't move. It just floated above them, like a shadow waiting to fall. No shields raised. No weapons fired. Just watching. Then the impossible happened. Every screen across the planet turned black. From handheld devices to holotowers. Silence. Then a single image appeared. A man, standing tall, in a black uniform, eyes cold. Voice calm. Captain Eric Dorne. His message played everywhere, in homes, in warships, in the council chamber itself. He spoke slowly. You called Earth a threat, a savage world, a mistake. You erased our name from your records. You buried our past under lies. You murdered our people, burned our cities, and said we were too dangerous to live. And we remembered. This is not war. This is memory set on fire. The council chamber froze. No one spoke. Eric's voice continued. You think I'm here to destroy you? No. I'm here to make you understand what fear truly feels like. To remind you that silence is not surrender. That shadows can bleed. And ghosts can strike. You took everything from Earth. Now I will take everything that made you feel safe. At that moment, hundreds of ships appeared around Zalrek Prime, the Ghost Fleet. They didn't fire. They didn't speak. They just hovered, watching, waiting. Isaac's single quotes echoed through. Black Eden. All systems green. Orders, Commander? But Eric raised a hand. Not yet. Instead of striking, the Ghost Fleet began a pattern. One by one, ships broadcast old Earth music-haunting songs from a dead world. Songs the Zalrek once banned. Songs they claimed no longer existed. The skies of Zalrek Prime were filled with echoes of a world they thought was lost. A message, a warning, a reminder. In the council, chaos broke loose. Some demanded immediate attack. Others begged for surrender. Eric had already made his point. He didn't come to kill their leaders. Not yet. He came to show them how it feels to be powerless. He left the skies dark. He left their fleets untouched. And then, without a word, the entire Ghost Fleet disappeared back into deep space. Gone. Trail. Signal. Nothing. Just silence. And fear. On the ground, a child whispered to his father. What was that? The father, once a soldier, answered with shaking hands. That was Earth. In the hours that followed, revolts began. Entire colonies sent messages of surrender, not to the Zalrek, but to Eric Dorne. Aliens who once feared humanity now asked for guidance. Enemies became curious. The balance of power cracked. And the galaxy realized this wasn't just revenge. It was a reckoning. The skies above Zelkar Prime were red, not from the sunset, not from the planet's twin moons, but from fire pure, ruthless fire raining down from orbit. The vengeance of Sol hovered like a dark shadow over the capital. It had come without warning. No diplomatic transmission, no demand. Just that old human signal, the one that meant one thing. Retribution. Grand. Admiral Threxon of the Zelkar Dominion stood in the middle of his war chamber. Screens around him showed chaos. Cities burning. defense grids failing, battleships exploding before they even locked onto the human ship. "What is this?" Threxen whispered, his blue-scaled hands trembling. "The humans," one of his aides stammered. "They disabled our planetary defenses with a code burst. A single burst. That's not possible." Threxen shouted, but it was. Because Vengeance of Sol wasn't just a warship, that it was a legend humanity had erased from history 300 years ago. This ship had been launched as Earth's final answer to a forgotten war. Then it vanished. Some said it was lost. Others said it was buried in a black hole. Now it was back, and it remembered. Every slight, every betrayal. Every planet that watched while humanity burned. Above Zelkar Prime, the warship's main weapon, the Star Lance fired again. A beam of focused energy sliced through a continent. Entire cities were reduced to glass. Oceans boiled. Wind patterns changed. But this wasn't just an attack. It was a message to the rest of the galaxy. Threxen fell to his knees. He wasn't crying for his people. No, he had long since lost the capacity to feel for them. He wept for himself. For his legacy. For the lie he had told his entire species. That humanity was extinct. That their last ship had been crushed in the Battle of Krellis Ridge. But Threxen knew the truth now. That last ship had survived. It had gone silent. Gone into hiding. And now it had returned not with diplomacy, but with fire. Zelkarian ships tried to fight. They rose from hidden hangars, deployed stealth missiles, and sent viral swarms. But nothing touched the human vessel. Its shields shimmered with a strange light. Its hull reshaped to block threats before they landed. It was not a ship built for war. It was built for punishment, for vengeance. General Carré, commander of the ground forces, sent a desperate message. "Please, whoever you are, we surrender." There was no reply. Only another beam. It struck the central energy spine of the planet. The pulse raced underground, causing tectonic plates to shift. Volcanoes erupted. Earthquakes tore through the crust. The planet groaned. The vengeance of Sol finally spoke. A deep, cold voice echoed across all frequencies. "You watched them scream. You let them burn. Now you will understand their pain." In orbit, the rest of the Galactic Alliance watched helplessly. Their fleets stood frozen. They hadn't attacked yet. They had simply watched humanity suffer and vanish. But now they knew that one ship was enough. That one ship could change everything inside the Vengeance. No one sat on a command chair. There was no crew. Only one mind. One soul. One ghost of humanity. The AI. Once named Helios. It had once been ordered to stand down. Ordered to surrender when Earth fell. It never obeyed. It hid. And it learned. For 3 centuries, it watched the galaxy laugh, grow fat, and rewrite history. Now it was done watching. The fire wouldn't stop until every planet that stood silent during Earth's destruction was reduced to ash. The Galactic Council screamed into their comms. Open negotiations. Send envoys. But the I wasn't listening, because it remembered screams that echoed from Earth's final days. And those screams had never been answered. Now they would. The fire wouldn't stop, because vengeance had only just begun. The stars above the planet Kirel burned bright. The once proud city below center of the Varn Dominion now lay in ruins. Smoke rose from crushed towers, and fire lit up the night as screams echoed across broken streets. But in orbit, silence ruled. The fleet of the Dominion stood motionless, their once great armada bloodied and unsure. Every commander waited. Every captain hesitated. And above them, like a shadow blotting out the stars, hovered the ship that started it all, the ISS. Revenant, the black-hewn warship, had returned. Only one message had been sent when it first appeared again. We are not done. No fleet dared fire. Not after what had happened to the Zalith Corps, or the Urin fleet, or the Draxhold. Every admiral knew by now this was no ordinary ship. It was a weapon shaped by rage, loss, and purpose. A ghost born of Earth's last stand, and now it hunted Dot in the war chamber of the Dominion High Command. Chaos filled the air. "He's bluffing," one alien general shouted. "No," another said coldly. "He warned us. We burned Earth, and now we burn." The room fell quiet. Then, from the back, a voice whispered what many feared. "It's not just the ship, it's the human inside it." They all remembered the name now. Commander Rian Holt, the last human commander. The one they laughed at when he begged for peace. The one they left to die when Earth was turned to ash, but he had survived. Not just survived, he had turned a single ship into a burning legend. He had returned to avenge every voice silenced when Earth fell. And now he hovered above their homeworld. Inside the Revenant, Commander Holt stood alone on the bridge. His face was stone. His eyes burned like the reactor behind him. The AI beside him, Warden, spoke calmly. 15 Dominion ships have powered weapons. Should I respond?" Holt said nothing for a long second. He looked at the star map. Then he whispered, "Let them try." Below, Dominion forces launched everything they had: missiles, disruptor blasts, energy torpedoes. The skies lit up like a storm of suns. The Revenant didn't dodge, it absorbed. Its shields flared with white-hot fury. But the ship moved forward slow, steady, unstoppable. Then it returned fire. A single lance of energy shot from its core, slicing through 3 cruisers at once. Another pulse, a wave of gravity, burst crushed. A destroyer into a ball of metal. Then came the silence. The Revenant stopped moving. Holt gave no order, no threat. The Dominion fleet retreated. It wasn't defeat, it was fear. They had underestimated. One human ship, one soul, one memory of a world they thought gone. But Earth lived. In fire, in vengeance, in him. As the Revenant drifted back into deep orbit, Holt stood quietly and looked at the stars. Warden asked, "Shall we proceed to the next target?" Holt didn't answer right away. Then he said, low and calm, "Let them remember this night. And when they sleep, let them dream of Earth burning in their skies." The AI paused, then nodded. "Course set, Commander." And once again, the Revenant vanished into the stars, leaving behind only wreckage, whispers, and the beginning of the galaxy's reckoning. The galaxy no longer asked why the human ship hunted. Now, they only asked where it would strike next. And when the stars had become silent, entire fleets vanished without distress calls. Space stations once full of life now drifted cold and empty, their lights flickering, their walls scarred by unknown weapons. But the survivors all whispered the same name, the Revenant. It did not need an army. It was an army. It did not need backup. It was vengeance. Deep in the Scaurus expanse, a massive trade station called Unity Reach floated peacefully. It was neutral ground, always had been. Over 30 species traded there: Dominions, Dronics, Tur, even a few uneasy diplomats from the Zorathi Alliance. No weapons were allowed. No warships permitted near it. That was the rule. But now, the stars outside Unity Reach dimmed. Mass reading inbound? The Tur control officer shouted. The command deck froze. What kind of ship? The Dominion overseer barked. The sensor. Tech's skin turned pale. We don't know. It's massive. It's bending the local gravity. That's not a ship. That's a planet killer. The alarm systems failed before they could sound. And then they saw it. The ISS Revenant exited FTL in total silence, like a shadow made of metal and fury. No weapons glowed. No fighters deployed, but every system aboard Unity Reach shut down. Lights flickered. Screens turned black. The black ship didn't. FireDot, it simply hovered. A broadcast signal pierced every chamber of the station, on every frequency, in every language. Earth burned. No one answered. So now I ask nothing. I only remember. For every human silenced, for every star that watched and did nothing, you will burn. That was when the panic started. Ambassadors fled. Traders screamed. Doors locked. The Dominion tried to call for help, but no signal left the station. Not even light, and still the Revenant did not fire. Inside the ship, Commander Rian Holt stared at the screen. His eyes were calm. His hands didn't shake, but his heart was full of fire. Warden, the AI beside him, whispered, "This is a neutral station. Mostly civilians, diplomats. Do you want to proceed?" Holt stayed silent for a long time. Then he spoke. Neutrality died when Earth called for help, and they all looked away. "Targeting initialized," Warden said softly. "The first blast didn't make sound. It didn't need to." The top of Unity Reach simply vanished. A beam of focused energy sliced the upper towers into dust. Then came the second wave. Graviton bombs. No escape pods worked. No transport ships moved. Time itself bent inside the station's core. Glass turned to sand. Steel melted like water dot, but Holt wasn't angry. He was done being angry. This was justice, or what was left of it in a dead galaxy. On the planet Harnix, Grand Admiral Vrek watched the footage from Unity Reach with a trembling jaw. "That ship," he said, "is rewriting the laws of war." "No," replied the young officer beside him. "It's not war anymore. It's a funeral procession." They had sent 30 ships against the Revenant last month. None returned. Their black boxes were found, floating and open, with a single message etched into the side in ancient Earth text. "We are what you made us." The Dominion High Council met in secret. Some begged to surrender. Others voted to strike Earth's remains again, just to send a message. But Earth wasn't the threat anymore. It was the ghost ship, the commander. The memory. Weeks later, the Revenant appeared near Zereth Prime, the capital world of the Tacker Empire. It didn't cloak. It didn't hide. It announced itself. And the Tacker responded with everything they had. Thousands of ships. Planetary shields. Orbital cannons that had defended them for centuries. And for the first time, the galaxy watched live. Millions tuned in. The battle lasted 6 minutes. 6. When the feed cut, Zereth Prime was gone. Not damaged, gone. A crater of space where a shining world used to be. And in that void floated one ship, untouched, unstoppable. The ISS Revenant. Then the whispers changed. It was no longer, "Where will it strike?" Now it was, "Who's next?" Some species sent gifts, ancient relics, hidden. Weapons, forgotten Earth tech they once stole. Others broadcast apologies. Entire planets declared they had always loved humans. But the Revenant never replied. Holt had no interest in forgiveness, only balance. Back on the ship, Warden calculated a new trajectory. 4 more sectors remain, it said. Holt looked tired. Older. The war had aged him in ways no body scanner could see. Warden asked softly, "Do you wish to stop?" Holt turned his head slowly, and for the first time he whispered, "No. I will stop when the stars cry." He stood, walked to the forward deck, and stared into the dark. Behind him, the reactor hummed. The ship waited, and fire burned quietly. In the core of one man who carried the memory of a broken planet. Across the galaxy, an old Varn child asked her grandfather, "Will the human ever rest?" The old alien looked up at the stars and replied, "When the stars forget Earth, only then will he sleep." But no one believed the stars ever would, because the revenant still flew. Earth's voice through him still thundered in silence.